Hello, all. Welcome and thank you so much for joining Shea Moore's virtual book release party for Matters of the Heart, a self-love journey through poems of love, lust, loss, and healing. I'm Shells Ken, your hostess and hype woman for the evening. Before we get too hype, there are a few housekeeping rules to keep in mind. There will be a Q&A session with Shea Moore after she delights our ears with her poetry. While we won't be reading your questions live, please feel free to type your questions in the comment box throughout the party. We'll do our best to respond. Again, this is a party, and what is a party without a game? After Q&A with Shea Moore, we want to know what you think you know about Shea Moore. During the game, there will be several opportunities for you to win a signed copy of Matters of the Heart. All right, raise your glass and let's toast to this party. Cheers. Amazing. So let me tell you about Shea Moore. Shea Moore is a writer, self-love advocate, and change agent. Her debut book, Matters of the Heart, a self-love journey through poems of love, lust, loss, and healing, provides a glimpse into the circumstances that impacted her heart and led her down a path of personal development and spiritual growth. Shea Moore has been writing since she was 7 years old. She started off writing in her diary to express her innermost thoughts and emotions, and then began writing poetry, raps, short stories, and personal essays inspired by her life experiences. During her journey, she came to realize that writing had always played an integral part in her growth and healing. She describes her writing style as contemporary expressive writing. Shea Moore explores a variety of issues in her written works, including love, sex, trauma, culture, race, identity, self-love, relationships, and healing. She writes from her heart with authenticity and passion and is dedicated to using her writing and creativity as mechanisms for positive change. Let's give a round of applause in the comment box for Shea Moore. All right, Shea Moore, we are so glad to be here with you. Let me first say congratulations on the release of your new book. But now that we can purchase the book on Amazon, if I have that correct, yes, please let us know why you decided to write Matters of the Heart.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for that wonderful introduction. It's funny that you asked about what made me write the book, because honestly, I never intended on writing a book. I feel like the book kind of wrote itself. And the reason that I say that is because what writing has been to me throughout my life is an introspective tool, something that I've turned to when I needed to express what was on my heart. And so actually the poems in this book span over a period of 25 years throughout my life. And it wasn't until I embarked on a spiritual, when I got into spirituality, I should say, and started to focus on healing, that I started getting nudges to share my writing with others. But I definitely was not feeling that at first because everything that I write about is so personal and everything is based on my life experiences. So I stalled. And the final thing that kind of pushed me to go ahead and put myself out there was actually a conversation with my cousin, Lenita Nicole. She's also a writer. And, but me and her, we've always had like we always get into really deep spiritual conversations. And she was telling me about a situation, and I was telling her, I said, God has already shown you and told you what it is you need to do. I said, so you just need to be obedient and trust in that and follow it. So I got off the phone with her and I sat there and I was like, you know what? You need to follow your own advice. Because with respect to the book, I've had dreams about releasing the book. And when I got into spirituality, dreams are one of the ways that I started to receive messages. And then another example is the book cover. That actually came to me, that image came to me in a meditation. So it was actually that phone call that made me kind of like take a step back and say, you know what, I'm going to follow my own advice and finally put myself out there And I'm happy that, I finally did it. So.
Well, that's wonderful as well as inspirational. And of course, I'm definitely biased since I've known Shea Moore through almost all of her poems or life, or however you want to say that. We met at the worst job ever, right? Right, Shea Moore? And
Yes.
I'm sure many of Shea Moore's life experiences came from the couple of years that we did time at that job.
Yeah.
Uh, I think you probably have more stories than I do about that, but that's exactly how our relationship came to be. Would you say?
Exactly. Yeah. I
Mhm.
remember we met at work. And so just so you guys know, my book is all about love and relationships. And so ironically, the way that Shells Ken and I met was the guy I was dating at the time. Um,
Mhm.
she came to me and she says, "You know what? You know that guy over there?" And I said, "Yeah, what about him?" She was like, "He's always in my face trying to talk to me and trying to get at me." And I was like, "Really?" Because, he was supposed to be my boyfriend at the time.
Oh,
So I
wow.
kicked him to the curb, and me and her have been rocking ever since. So yeah.
Straight 50 cent snitching on everybody, right? All right. Okay. So I know at this point, I'm ready to hear some poetry. I'm pretty sure that you're ready to hear some poetry. Shea Moore, are you ready to read some poetry?
I am.
All right. Can you let us know a little bit about what you have for us before you introduce us to the sounds of your poetry?
Sure, of course. So, Matters of the Heart is, like I said, all about love and relationships. And there are essentially four core themes to the poems, which is love, lust, loss, and healing. And so, what I'm trying to do is pick a poem to share with you guys that represents each one of those themes. And so, the first one that I'm going to start off with is called Ignition. And I'll let you decide and try to figure out which theme these poems fall. So, all right. All right. So, he was intoxicating, and I was drunk on his essence. He had this presence, regal, powerful, captivating. Walking next to him as he held my hand, guided me, directed me, protected me, I felt queenly being there by his side. His smile, his height, his style, his scent, the whole package was A1. Though we stood in the crowded bar at La Diplomat, it felt as if it was just him and I. As my defenses melted away like the ice in my Henny, with each seductive touch, with every kiss, every wink of his eye, I knew I had to have him, to experience him fully. My body responded, slowing down all I was feeling between my thighs. I looked into his eyes and listened to his voice and decided he was my choice, the one who I'd allow to reignite the passion in me, the part of me that had been buried, to reignite the flame of raw, unadulterated sexual desire. And he gladly obliged. He looked me into my eyes, kissed me passionately, told me I was beautiful, admired every inch of my body, had me so wet he could literally drink it, pulled my hair, stroked me deep and slow, spoke French in my ear as he made me moan. And for just one night, I was reminded of what passion felt like. So that is Ignition.
Yeah, I know there are some virtual snaps, possibly tears going on in the comment box right now. Um, but let me ask you one question before you get to your next poem. Have you ever done spoken word?
No, I haven't.
Uh,
Nah.
but I guess my point in asking that is you have a very nice voice.
Okay.
And I'm just curious to know, should we be expecting to hear Matters of the Heart in an audiobook? And if so, when?
It's funny that you asked me that because a couple of people have asked me that question. And initially, I really hadn't planned on doing an audiobook. However, I think I am going to go ahead, excuse me, and give it a try. So look out for that soon. I don't have an exact date, but it will be forthcoming. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. I'm all ears. Whatever you have to give to me, I'm listening.
All right. So we're going to switch gears a bit with this next poem. Um, This poem is called Reflections, and it's about mother-daughter relationships. So, here we go. For the first time, I looked at her through new eyes, and in her pain, I saw a reflection of mine, connected and intertwined as if photocopied from the same book. As she reviewed, as she revealed more layers of herself, her struggles, her pain, her violations, her vulnerabilities, my heart transformed from a place of judgment to one of compassion and understanding. I cried for her silently as she lay herself open wide. Guilt washed over me for judging and labeling her behavior over the years, when all along she was just trying to cope with the same shit I'm struggling with, but times 10. She buried her pain in external vices and masked her tears, trying to protect me like mothers do, while still fighting against the trauma from everything she'd been through. I felt bad for unleashing the feelings I'd held in all these years about how much more I needed her, how in some of my darkest moments, the soul-crushing sadness I felt when I reached for her and she just wasn't there. How I resented that she allowed herself to be consumed with the needs and wants of everybody else, but couldn't see how her actions affected me and couldn't hear my silent cries in those moments when I just wanted to die, just so I could have some peace and be free from the agony of never feeling like anything good or enough. How didn't she see how hard it was for me to live in her shadow? But little did I know she was fighting her own battles. All of this forced me to admit that all of my issues didn't just stem from my relationship with Dad. For the first time, I looked into her eyes without the veil of motherly expectation, and I just saw her. In all her disaster and beauty and strength and brokenness, I saw a woman fighting to be seen and valued and loved, a woman who had been hurt in incomprehensible ways, who did her best to navigate through her pain. I saw her. I saw myself. I saw them. The many faces of so many Black women. I felt the spirit of our ancestors, of women who did their best to find the strength and survive in a world that inflicts so much toxic shit on our minds, hearts, and spirits. And my tears just flowed and flowed and flowed. That's
Uh,
reflections.
that's absolutely amazing. Thank you
Thank,
so much for that.
thank
I
you.
I'm going to try to guess the themes for these two poems. So with Ignition, I'm assuming that's lust. I think that one was pretty obvious.
Yes.
And wait, before I guess the other one, let me just say this. Ignition.
Mm-hmm.
With what it sounds like in that poem, let me just ask Shay more. How important is passion in a relationship to you?
That's a good question. I think it's very important in a relationship, but I don't think it's like the end all be all, but I think it's an important element. And for me, ironically, what seems to happen is I either tend to get in a relationship with people where I have a lot of passion, but the other elements are missing. Or, we're very mentally compatible and emotionally compatible, but that passion is not there. And it doesn't work without, that balance. So I definitely think it's important.
Okay. And so now the other poem, I'm kind of struggling to guess. I'm thinking it's healing, but can you tell me a little bit more if am I right? Is that healing or is that one of the other themes that you are um, using in your book?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That poem would fall under the theme of healing, and it's one of the more recent poems that I've written because, like I said, the poems usually, span over 25 years, but that one is recent. It's a recent revelation that I've come to, and as like I said, as I've gotten more into spirituality and healing, I started to study generational trauma and epigenetics and different things. And obviously, you know what I'm saying? when you go on a healing journey, things start to come up that you don't even realize are issues until you really get deep down into the, you know what I'm saying, into the process. And these things started to come up between me and my mother. And so that is what inspired that poem.
Wow, that's it takes a lot for a person to be vulnerable and obviously to write it down and then read it to the public. So I'd like to say thank you for sharing. I'm sure your audience and readers would like to say the same thing. Um,
Thank
that
you.
was such a change in themes, but they both were really I don't know how to say it, but they both sat in your mind for a long time after you heard it. But
Thank
I
you.
won't get too much into your business because, of course, I'd love to go back to Ignition, but I won't. But please, 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 please oblige our listening pleasure by continuing more with the poetry that you have for us.
Alrighty. Well, this next poem that I'm going to read is called Growing Apart. And y'all know how it is in relationships. There's typically, there's ups, there's downs. There's moments when you feel just so close to your partner, when you're in that honeymoon stage. But then there are also times when, you start to question if you guys are meant to stay together. And so that's kind of what this one is about. Um, so close and yet so far apart. The gap widens as each day passes. Smiles and laughs help evade the truth, and at times silence speaks volumes. All the while, underneath the surface, a decision is fighting to break free. Hold on or let go. You kiss me, but it feels hollow. You touch me, but there's no flame. And though we both still care and have feelings there, there's something missing, something else that I long for. Things have changed. Empty I love yous fill awkward spaces, and my mind drifts to memories of a time when things were different, when there was an excitement and a hope for the future, and a sense of intrigue about the unknown. But now, the unknown just weighs on my heart, as if not really a question, but a knowing that the answer has been there all along, and everything feels wrong. Why do we choose to ignore what is right in front of our face? Are we so hell bent on trying to mold it or imagine it will magically transform into what we want it to be? Or is the real problem that we are operating from a place of fear and insecurity? Listening to that nagging voice inside saying, I'd rather settle than be alone. But what of happiness and of true love? Is it really something that is even attainable, or is it just some pipe dream that we've all come to believe in? I start to wonder if I give in and give up on you, if I'll be giving up on my shot at love and happiness too. Perhaps therein lies the problem. Our happiness shouldn't be dependent on each other. Pain and loneliness brought us together. Friendship grew through the healing of broken hearts and broken dreams. And now, ironically, it seems, we've ended up in the same place we started. That's growing apart.
Nice. You
Thank you.
know, what I really enjoy about your poetry, Shea Moore, is that, like your poems before that you read, it's so raw and relatable. I mean, it's awesome that you use the themes of love, lust, loss, and healing because it's something that all of us experience in our life. And, it's touching at the same time. It's real. Not to say that real life is not touching, but, it's not just you writing a story. It's something that you are, um, you're I don't know, I guess it's allowing your readers to show empathy because we, may have gone through the same things before. I'm sorry to keep stopping you in between your poetry, but I feel like so much needs to be said. I will try to reserve most of my questions for the questions and answers, but I'll stop here and let you go ahead and read your next poem.
Okay, and thank you so much for the kind words. I really appreciate it. So, this last poem I'm going to read It's called Sister. And this poem was birthed out of my experiences in dealing with colorism as a Black woman, and in dealing with racism in predominantly white environments, and also dealing with fat shaming as a plus size woman. And so that's kind of what inspired this poem. So here it goes. Nah, my eyes ain't blue and my hair ain't blonde. Ain't a size 4, yet still got it going on. Loves my honey colored tone and the thickness of my hips. My pretty brown eyes and the fullness of my lips. The magic of my presence, driven by my inner strength, touches all that I encounter because I dispel all the myths. I am the one and only manifestation of me, so I refuse to be defined by the norms of society. Unique, intelligent, and 100% real, not afraid to speak my mind and tell you how I feel. My mind, heart, and spirit, the way I think, love, and act, reflect who I am, not material things or the dollars I stack. Sexy yet classy with the dash of attitude. Driven and focused, always seeking to improve. Not the type to sit around. I set trends and make moves. Love me or hate me, to myself, I remain true.
And what an awesome way to go out. I love that this was your last poem. You said Sister, right?
Yes.
Okay. I am hearing sprinkles of Maya Angelou influence. Is she an author that inspires you?
Definitely, yes.
Mm.
Maya Angelou has been a huge inspiration for me as a woman, as a Black woman, and as a writer. I remember when I first read her story, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, and I was very young, but it left a serious impression on me. And then I went on to read more and more of her books. So, yes, definitely.
Okay. Okay, so obviously, I've been asking questions throughout, but now, for real, we're at the Q&A portion of this poetry reading, and I have a few questions for you. Hopefully, they're not too hard for you to handle. I doubt it. So the first one is, um, can you tell us, like, what was the publishing process like for you as an independent writer?
Sure, yeah, that's a great question. And I actually have my own publishing company, Jules Publications.
Wow.
So we're a publishing company and a self-publishing consulting agency. And so I was familiar with the process because I have coached and assisted other authors with publishing their books. But what was different is I've usually only helped them with one aspect of the publishing process, right? So I've helped writers with writing because I do ghostwriting. I've helped, and also just like book coaching as far as helping them improve their writing. I've done editing for some people, and then I've helped people from a conceptual standpoint come up with a book cover idea. You know what I mean? But I had never really walked anyone through the entire process. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, though I was familiar with the process and I know what it entails, I also learned some things that I didn't know, or that I just hadn't considered. And there's a lot of decision points, along the way for different things that I like I said, I just I wouldn't have thought about until I actually jumped in and did it. And so um, it was relatively straightforward. You know what I mean? I did work with others to help me with my book cover. Shout out to Adam Hay Studios on that. And Lanita Nicole, she also assisted me throughout the process. So, but yeah, it was definitely a memorable experience. And so I'm going to take what I've learned throughout this process, perfect it, and hone it for my future projects.
Great, great. So, earlier you were telling us about Maya Angelou being an influence and an inspiration to you. Do you have any other like favorite writers or performers that inspire you to be creative?
Oh, absolutely. Definitely Toni Morrison. She was a huge inspiration to me. I remember the first time I was introduced to her work was in high school. I was in advanced English and we read Beloved. And it was just a different feeling being able to read stories from a woman that, you know, looks like you, and from a culture, from that cultural perspective, especially because I went to school in a predominantly white environment, you know, in my high school years. And so, yeah, I really connected with her work, and huge fan of Toni. May she rest in peace. Nikki Giovanni, I love her poetry. Zora Neale Hurston, I love, again, you know, I love her work. And I know I mentioned my cousin several times, but it's just the truth. Anita Nicole, also known as the Righteous One, she is an awesome spoken word artist. So I'm definitely inspired by her as well.
So it sounds like the writers that inspire you just also happen to be Black women writers.
Yes.
So,
Yes, definitely.
kind of, just going along with, I spoke about it in your bio, you are using your writing for positive change when needed. Can you speak more to representation of Black women writers in the field of publication and writing?
Yeah, you know, I think it's extremely important for diverse voices to be represented in publishing. And one of the awesome things about self-publishing is that it's opened the door for so many people to be able to self-publish their work and get their stories out there without having to go the traditional publishing route, you know, which is more, there's more barriers, you know what I'm saying, going the traditional route. So I think it's very important, and it's what has inspired me to start my publishing company, because our tagline is every jewel has a story. And I truly believe that every woman or man, you know what I mean, has a story to tell that can be valuable to someone else, whether it's knowledge they've gained through, you know, work or just their life experiences. And that information can be used to positively influence somebody else's life. So yeah, I think representation is very important, and self-publishing has definitely provided an avenue for more Black voices to be heard.
So, this is the last question, but not the last question of the night. I'm going to give myself some flexibility to continue to ask questions, but I want to ask you, before we move on, do you have any, I know this is your debut book, but do you have any advice for any other authors out there?
You know what? That's a good question. And if I had to give advice, the main thing would be don't let your fears stop you from sharing your story. That was my biggest obstacle. You know, even though I've been writing for years, I know how to write multiple types of things, you know, multiple styles and all that, but I was scared to put myself out there, to be vulnerable. And, however, like I said, your story, what you have to say, what you know, can help somebody else. And I think it was actually Maya Angelou who said that there's no greater agony than bearing the weight of an untold story. So yeah, if I had to give any advice, it would be just do it. Don't let your fear stop you.
Okay. I mean, that can absolutely be used not just for authors, but anyone who feels like they have a story to tell,
Yeah.
to not be afraid, or let yourself become a barrier. All right. Thank you for that, for those wonderful answers. But with that answer, I think it's time for the audience to get involved. So what we're going to do now is play Naughty and Nice. Am I saying that right, Shamor? Naughty and Nice. It's by Derek Jackson. You may have seen him on using the social media platforms to provide relationship advice. So we chose this game because it seems to have some similar themes as Shayamor's poetry. So what we're gonna do, let me break it down to you. Okay. I will ask a question and then I will pin it in the comment section. I'll also pin the multiple choice answers. Whoever responds first with the correct answer will receive a signed copy of Matter of the Heart in the mail. You can only win once, so please, if you win once, don't try to win again. And your information will need to be collected so that the book can be shipped. Please don't start typing your answer until the question is read and the choices are pinned. This gives everyone an opportunity and it keeps it fun. So I hope you're ready. Get your typing fingers on. You don't have to look at the screen just yet. You can just look at Shea Moore as she answers. Shea Moore, part of this game, I'm going to ask you, when you provide an answer, can you provide some commentary before you provide the answer?
Some commentary, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you're ready to play, I'm ready to play. You ready?
Yeah, let's get it.
Okay, great. All right. So this is the first question.
Uh-huh.
Again, don't type yet, just wait. A man promises his wife to love her through thick and thin, so long as she stays thick and doesn't get too thin. Is this still love, Shamor? Let me give you the multiple choice. A, no, love sees no size. B, yes, he just wants her to keep herself up. C, it depends on how the man looks. D, not necessarily love, but it's reasonable. Share more?
You know what? That's a good question, but it's interesting how they flip this because in this situation, the man is wanting her to stay thick, but it's the reverse in real life, right, ladies? I mean, come on.
I guess, it depends on who the person is because, yes. I was surprised by the way the question was worded, but I like it.
I like it too, but I think I just hear it I usually, when I see questions like this, it's usually the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm in Facebook groups and whatnot. However, I think my response would be D.
D is not necessarily love, but it's reasonable. So hopefully whoever answered D first in the comment section, we want to get your information so we can send you the book. Congratulations ahead of time. Thank you for that. We'll move on to our next question. Which would mean the most to Shea Moore? A warm, oiled, full body massage after a long day of work. Oof. Self-care. I'm sorry. Let me come back. B, a surprise out of the country trip. C, a diamond necklace and matching bracelet just because. D, a home-cooked dinner and foot rub while you ate. Commentary first.
That's hard. Because I'm having a hard time picking between two of the options because anybody who knows me knows I love to travel and I love surprises like that. However, I also love a good home cooked meal and a foot rub. So, if I had to pick, I'm gonna go with the home cooked meal and the foot rub.
Okay, so you chose a home cooked dinner and a foot rub while you ate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want it all.
I really do.
The funny thing is, I figured you picked D, but I know I thought it was going to be out of A and D and not necessarily D as the main answer, but okay.
What was A again?
A was a warm oil full body massage after a long day of work.
That sounds good too. In actuality, yeah, just give me all of it, please.
Exactly. Okay, number 3. Which of the following would you be willing to do with your partner, Shea Moore? A, travel to a different country every month. B, compete in a savings competition, and whoever saved the most wins the pot. C, feed the homeless with 10% of every paycheck. D, abstain from sex to get closer mentally.
On that one, I would definitely go with A.
A. That's travel to a different country every month.
Yes, because
that's right. Okay.
I love to travel.
I know.
I think it would be pretty dope to be able to go somewhere different every month, knock, places off of our bucket list or whatever. So yeah,
Yeah.
I can see it.
It's a nice thought when, you can't necessarily travel at this moment due to circumstances in the world,
Right,
right?
right.
That's a nice one. Traveling to a different country every month. I'm sure there's a lot of people that agree with you. I don't know if I would want to travel every month because of the hustle and bustle of the plane, but
It
I
can
know
be.
the experience once you get there, once you get to your destination, is all worth it. All right, moving on. 4. Okay, this one is very adult. Biggest turn on during sex. A, loud moaning. B, profanity. C, physical aggression. D, being somewhere other than a bed. Shamor.
Oh, that's spicy. Um,
I'm sorry.
I said this one is spicy.
Oh, okay.
Um, the biggest turn on, it would probably be aggression.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's C, physical aggression.
Mhm.
Okay. We won't get in your business. We're going to keep on moving on that one. All right. Number 5. And I hope you all are enjoying getting to know Shamor as much as apparently, although I think I know her, I'm getting to know her even more with these questions. Okay. You break up with your partner, but not because they're a bad person. You're just no longer attracted. Your friends ask to date said partner. What do you say? A, sure, go ahead. I just have to laugh. B, no, that's weird. C, yeah, but you'll no longer be my friend. D, nothing at all because you'd block your friend.
Yeah, that's a no for me.
That's a no. Which one is that? Because it seems like there's a couple of no's on that. So let me see. There. So is A, sure, go ahead. B, no, that's weird. C, yeah, but you'll no longer be my friend. D, nothing at all because you block your friend.
So, I guess it would be, girl, I can't remember all them options. I think it was C. C.
C, but you'll no longer be my friend.
See, I'm not trying to, I don't want a friendship to end, what I'm saying,
Uh-huh.
with the situation. So, I just would say no. My answer would be, I'm adding another option. E. Look,
That's cheating.
right?
Okay, but for the sake of the person who wrote the correct answer, we said it's C. Yeah, but you'll no longer be my friend. There's also I think, a interesting question because they really try to pump up the ex. They're saying, no, the person's not bad, and I'm no longer attractive, but nah,
Okay,
it's
because
not happening.
something, right. So, you know what? I laughed at this question because you and I, we always have these situations.
Uh-huh.
But
Mhm.
I
Please
thought,
clarify that so people know what the situations are.
yeah. So, Shells Ken is my best friend, for y'all that don't know. And we have had numerous situations throughout our friendship where guys will try to talk, like a guy that I'm talking to will try to talk to her, like I told you about in the beginning, or vice versa. And so when we worked at that same janky company we was telling
Ugh.
y'all about, you had went out with a guy, and but you guys didn't, you weren't in a relationship. You guys just, hung out, and you were like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it wasn't, you weren't feeling him. So then he asked me out, remember?
Yeah, absolutely remember.
And so it was a little different, you know what I'm saying? Because I went out on a date with him, but I was instantly like, no. And it
Yeah.
was this running joke that me and you had.
Yeah.
I share that story to say that to me in that situation, because there was no relationship, you know what I'm saying? You guys just went and hung out, you know what I'm saying? I felt like I would be like, yeah. But for
Yeah.
if it was somebody that you were like in a long-term relationship with or whatever, if I have to pick one of them answers, I guess it would be the one that says no, and you would no longer be my friend if you chose to go along with it.
Okay, that is C. Okay, so whoever chose C first, you are the winner of the signed copy of Matters of the Heart. All right.
Give me long enough to get to an answer on that one.
No, but that's good though. Your readers and viewers are getting to know who Shay Moore is. All right. Which would you rather have? A, 2 orgasms a day for the rest of your life. B, $200 a day for the rest of your life. C, free flights on a private jet for the rest of your life. D, private chefs to cook all of your food every day for the rest of your life. Now, let me tell you something real quick. I'm going to jump in here this time. The private chefs, Shea Moore, she can cook really well. She does not need a private chef. So I'm going to give you all a freebie here and let you know that's not where it's at. Choose from the other ones.
Oh my goodness. So it was orgasm, money, or flights.
Yep.
Correct? I mean, I'm taking the flights.
Okay. You said C, free flights, right?
Yep.
Okay. That kind of goes with the theme what you said earlier about wanting to travel.
Yeah.
Okay. Free flights on a private jet for the rest of your life. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
All
Just
right. So
just
crew, we are coming to our last game question. Again, I hope you had a lot of fun listening to these questions and answers. Here is the last one. Your partner requests that both of you spend one night a week strictly serving the other's sexual needs. Would you agree to it? A, no, that sounds boring. B, yes, that's a good idea. C, yes, but only to see how it goes. To only try it and see how it goes. And D, no, you would try to find a compromise. Sure.
I think on this one I'm gonna go with C.
C?
Yes, C, which is try it and see how it goes, right?
Okay. Okay.
Because, I mean, I feel like it's important to learn your partner,
Mm,
and you know what I mean, to understand what they like and need and all of that. So I don't think there would be anything wrong with dedicating time specifically for that. However, I wouldn't want it to feel so, like regimented and scheduled or whatever. So that's why the part about see how it goes, you know what I
okay.
mean, kind of resonated with me as well.
That's interesting. I thought so. C is the answer there, audience. Congratulations to the winner. But C says yes, but only try it and see how it goes. And then D says no, you would find a compromise. I kind of feel like C is a compromise, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I agree.
All right, but no one's here for my thoughts. They want to know more about Shea Moore. Shea Moore, thank you for that. That was really informative and obviously lots of fun, and it just added even more depth to our party. Uh, so our time is nearing the end. Tell us what's next for Shea Moore.
Oh my, I have some exciting things in the works. I'm actually going to be coming out with a new virtual series called Poetry and Chill, and it will highlight up and coming Black poets. And so that's going to be debuting soon. And so stay tuned for that. I'm also working on a product line that's going to be all about enhancing self love and healing. I haven't decided on the name and everything, but I have several products that I'm going to be creating and putting out soon. So that's another thing that I'm working on. And my next book is going to be all about how to free your heart and radiate self love. So in this book, I'm going to go deeper. This book here kind of tells you about the circumstances and the situations that led me to the path of healing. And so in this next book, I'm going to go deeper and provide more information and share more about what I learned along the way that has helped me on my self-love journey. So I'm really excited about all of those projects.
That sounds exciting. Kind of a question for you regarding your series, virtual series coming out. That's super exciting. Is there a way that talent could get in touch with you? Are you looking for talent right now currently to join that series, or is this something that you already have planned out and, better luck next time?
Actually, yes, we are looking for talent. You guys, if you know any up and coming poets that you think would be a good fit, feel free to reach out to Jules Publications. You can, Jules Publications, www.julespublications.com. We'll be sharing more information about that at a later date. But definitely, you can also email me at julespublications@gmail.com.
Okay. Yeah. We'll put that below we'll pin it in the box as well. So anyone who's interested can see it. We'll put it up there for a short while, and we'll also have it listed, at the end of our live tonight. Before we finish, would you like to acknowledge anyone out there tonight?
Absolutely, yeah. And I kind of put this in my book, but I want to speak it, and because I want to thank my mother for just always being there for me, always being an inspiration for me. Without her, there would be no me, and so I definitely just want to acknowledge her and all that she is to me and has been to me throughout my life. And my Uncle Bobby, he has been a huge support to me since I was a little girl. He's always believed in me, made me feel like I could do anything. I mean, words can't express how much I appreciate all of his support and love and encouragement over the years. So definitely my Uncle B. And of course, I've mentioned her name several times, Lanita Nicole. Me and her are blood sisters. Like literally, when we was little, we did the little prick your fingers and, became blood sisters. She's actually my cousin, but she is a prolific writer in her own right. And she has been so inspiring and just been there with me every step of the way throughout this project, helping me, pushing me, giving me advice and, insight into different things. So, Lena Nicole, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I definitely want to give a shout out to my wonderful host, Shells Ken, and my best friend. I love you. You've always been a great friend to me. I'm going to get emotional. But I really appreciate your support and your help and just always being there for me. Not just with this, but just in life. Mm-hmm. And definitely want to give a huge shout out to David Kinder Productions. David, I really appreciate all of your help with everything. So, yes.
I'm sure he says, stop your crying. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Thank you so much for those acknowledgments. I'm sure the people in your life are so appreciative for your acknowledgement and would probably do it all again if they had to, just to make sure you stay on the path of your journey. This was awesome. We worked on this and it's been a great time. I would like to also thank David Kinder Productions for his video and tech support. And of course, thank all of you for showing your support for Shea Moore. Her book, Matters of the Heart, a self-love journey through poems of love, lust, loss, and healing, is now available on Amazon. All right, good people, make sure you go out and buy that book. God bless and good night.
Good night.
Alice, we got one.